But joining us now in a Fox Business exclusive is the former CEO of one of the largest utilities in the nation, NRG CEO David Crane. You were warning. You saw this coming years ago, did you not?
Well, I was around the electric industry for a long time, so I saw the switch from analog to digital. So that's going to happen. And I mean, the fact that the grid system in the United States is one of the great engineering achievements of the time, but it's vulnerable. It's vulnerable to both cyber attack and physical attack, as we've seen in the past. And obviously, all of modern society depends upon it. So it has to be protected in every way we can.
I've always thought about this. The complaint is that our grid, our national grid, isn't really national. It's a bunch of pieces strung together almost with, well, I'm not being obnoxious here, but spit and sealing wax for a term other one we could use here. But if we linked it all together and modernized it, wouldn't that make it easier for any successful hacker to take us all down?
Well, I mean, there's an argument. I don't know if it's true because I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but that our nuclear plants, which are older, are still based on analog, so that in fact, by being older, they're a little safer than if their CNI systems were completely upgraded. But it is a quite well integrated system. Most people in the industry would say the U.S. system is three parts: east of the Mississippi, west of the Mississippi, and Texas. So those are very big footprints, and you can see if you could disable part of it, you would disable a wide swath of America.
Is it just a matter of time before the Russians or the North Koreans or the Chinese are able to find a way to trip the wire and shut off all the electricity?
Well, I mean, I don't mean to be a pessimist because I think the industry is doing everything it can, but I think it is just a matter of time. In fact, the time has occurred in terms of physical disruption to the grid as opposed to exposed storms. You said in your intro about me talking about the 120 million poles that we depend upon. And so I think the big implication...
As in utility poles?
Utility poles, yes. And so I think the big implication for business is just like after 9/11, it became imprudent for any CEO to have all their servers in one location. I think right now businesses have to realize they need a certain amount of grid resilience at all their important places of business. And that's, you know, probably solar on their roof, storage behind the building.
Well, speaking of power and all of that, the power supply, the EPA chief, Scott Pruitt, signed this proposed rule to basically withdraw the Obama administration's so-called Clean Power Plan. Ostensibly, it'll unleash business, and these regulations were too onerous. Were they? You, having led NRG, were they?
Well, no, I mean, no, they weren't too onerous, and they had a fairly long lead time. But the truth is, and I know that Administrator Pruitt said the war on coal ends today. Well, the war on coal was won a few years ago, but it wasn't won by the EPA. It was won by the natural gas industry in Houston. The demise of coal in the United States has everything to do with fracking and the price of natural gas, not anything the EPA has done or will do in the future.
So are you saying that it's all in the rearview mirror now for big utilities and small? I mean, I had put on this air, the team had put on the air this Reuters survey that was basically an interview with all Republican-led states that had big utility operations and coal operations, and to every single one that was asked, they said, no matter what is relaxed, we're still going forward with the scrubbers and the cleaner energy. It just works better for us to go natural gas. It's market-based for us.
It's totally market-based. And, of course, when you're talking about a power plant, you're talking about an asset with a 50-year life. So just because one 4-year administration is trying to do something, the pace of retirement of coal-fired power plants in the United States has not slowed down in the year since President Trump took office.
Well, let's just show. The stock performance was dismal for coal companies and producers, certainly. But look at them since the president took office here. And we're talking now about Donald Trump. Peabody Energy down 99%. Consol Energy down 10%. Is that the free market working or politics?
That's the free market working.
So you can't, tough to turn around.
No, unless you're going to put some sort of excise tax on natural gas, and it's hard to see the Trump administration doing that.
We'll see. David, thank you so much.